So, what could a general from 2,500 years ago possibly have to teach a modern CEO? Well, as it turns out, pretty much everything. Today, we're diving deep into the timeless principles of strategy, and we're going to connect the ancient wisdom of Sun Tzu to the super sharp frameworks of today's business world. Think of it as a journey from the battlefield right into the boardroom. And it all kicks off with this really powerful idea. See, over 2,000 years ago, Sun Tzu wrote that to get what he called complete success, you absolutely have to understand the landscape and climate. In other words, winning isn't about luck, and it's not about brute force. Nope. It's all about having this deep, deep situational awareness. And that simple idea, that's the core of our entire conversation today. Okay, so what does that complete understanding actually look like? Well, Sun Tzu was crystal clear that victory isn't about one single brilliant move or some secret weapon you've got. It's about mastering three completely different areas of knowledge. He basically laid out these paths to what he called incomplete victory. It's kind of like this. Know yourself, but you have no idea what your competition is up to? Yeah, you'll win some, you'll lose some. Know your competition inside and out, but you're blind to your own weaknesses? Same deal. And get this, even if you know both yourself and your competition, if you don't get the landscape you're operating in, you're still just leaving your success up to chance. So the whole point, the big takeaway, is this. It's only when you master all three of these elements, your own capabilities, your competition's whole strategy, and the very ground you're fighting on, that your success can actually be called complete. Anything less than that, it's just a coin toss. Now, that third element, the landscape, it's pretty easy to picture it as a physical battlefield, right? But applying this ancient wisdom today brings up a huge question for any modern leader. The idea of terrain is pretty simple in an ancient battle. You can picture the hills, the rivers. But what does terrain even mean for a software company today? Or a retail brand? Or a creative agency? What is our modern landscape? The brilliant 20th century military strategist John Boyd gives us a massive clue. He reminds us that while the terrain is the medium you fight on, it's not the main event. At the end of the day, the focus has always been, and it always will be, on people. And this is where modern tools really give us an edge. A guy named Simon Wardley created this method called Wardley mapping to help us actually see this new non-physical landscape. It's a way to literally draw a map of your entire value chain from the raw components all the way to the end user, so you can see how everything connects. But here is the most important rule of this whole mapping thing. It's the starting point. Every single map, every single time, begins not with your product, not with your company, but with the fundamental needs of your user. Everything flows from there. Your entire landscape is anchored to them. And this focus on user needs, well, it brings us right back to the most critical component of all, the one constant that connects Sun Tzu's ancient battlefields to a modern Wardley map. And that, of course, is the human element. Just look at this. It's a timeless truth. Sun Tzu saw these exact human behaviors on the battlefield thousands of years ago, and guess what? They haven't changed one bit. Boyd said the same thing, and Wardley literally anchors his maps on it. Understanding human motivation, what your customers and, your competitors truly need is and always has been everything. Okay, so you have your map. You really understand the landscape and all of the people in it. The next question is pretty obvious, right? What do you actually do with all that knowledge? See, Sun Tzu didn't just tell you to understand the landscape. He actually gave you a playbook. He identified different kinds of situations, or ground, and then told you exactly what strategic move to make. If the ground is contested, get there first. If you're surrounded, block the passages. It's this incredibly clear framework for turning awareness into action. And now, in the world of Wardley mapping, we see the exact modern equivalent of this. The tactical responses you choose based on what you see on your map, they're called gameplays. They are the conscious, strategic moves you make once you finally understand the landscape. And here are just a few examples. Your map might show you that, say, cloud computing is becoming a basic utility. That creates a huge opportunity for a first mover to build a brand new service on top of it. Or maybe it reveals a new market niche where a land grab is totally possible. The map doesn't just show you the world, it shows you exactly where to make your move. All right, this brings us to the final and, maybe the most important principle that ties all of this together. Your map, your knowledge, your strategy, none of it can ever be static. It has to be a living, breathing thing. How brilliant is that analogy? Sun Tzu is describing the perfect responsive organization. It doesn't matter where it gets attacked, the entire organism just responds instantly. As a whole, this is not some rigid top-down structure. It's a dynamic, adaptable system.
And that right there is the huge mental shift we all have to make in strategic thinking. Strategy is not a single fixed plan that you create once and then blindly execute. No way. It's a continuous cycle of observing the landscape, updating your map, and then acting. Your map is never finished because the landscape is always changing. The really skilled leaders, they get this. They're constantly changing their methods and their plans. And why do they do that? To become unpredictable. Because if your competition can guess your next move, you've already lost the very advantage that your map was supposed to give you in the first place. And when you finally do make your move, you do it decisively. Sun Tzu used this incredibly powerful image to describe total commitment. You throw away the ladder. You create a situation where there is no turning back, no choice but to push forward with maximum momentum and succeed. That is the essence of turning awareness into unstoppable action. So this is what it all boils down to. Nothing is permanent. Your market, your technology, your users' needs, all of it is in constant motion. So the real art of strategy isn't found in having one perfect map that you hang on the wall. It's found in the constant, dynamic, and the relentless process of mapping itself.